Did you know that there's not one, not two, but three potential ways that you could go about publishing your book? I'd like to share them with you in this vlog. So in my last vlog, I talked all about how you can pre-sell a book before you've written a word, and I shared with you the case study of the suitcase entrepreneur. But now on to my next book, which is coming out right around September of 2018 for pre-order. And that book in itself is a really interesting case study. As I said in my last vlog, I self-published The Suitcase Entrepreneur back in 2013. I put it on Amazon, became a #1 bestseller in 3 different categories, and 4 years later, 4 years, I had a big name publisher come along, give me a contract to put out the 3rd edition. So that was a huge honor for me. However, with this latest book, The Freedom Plan, How to Redesign Your Business, Work Less, Earn More, and Be Free, I actually went with a hybrid publisher. So what the heck is the difference between self-publishing, hybrid publishing, and a traditional publisher? Self-publishing, pretty obvious. You have full control, full freedom, and also in some ways, full responsibility for making your book a bestseller and getting it out there into the world. So it's a ton of work, it's a ton of your own investment and time, but you do have the freedom to choose your pricing, your cover design, how you market it, how you offer it, when you do promotions. Every single piece of your book is under your control. Then we'll skip to a traditional publisher. Up until self-publishing and Amazon came along, I think getting a big name publishing contract was a huge deal. And don't get me wrong, it's still pretty exciting. When I had The Suitcase Entrepreneur picked up by North Star Way, it was a big deal for me. It was really exciting. However, the power of traditional publishing companies is actually diminishing, and they're now turning to authors who already have a community in order to pick them up. So if you don't have much of a community, if you don't have much of a brand online, if you don't have much of a presence, they're less likely to take your book on. It's just the way it is. They don't have the power and the audience anymore that they used to be able to promote, and they really are relying on you. Which is great if you're a content producer, if you're an influencer, if you're an authority in your niche. You are far more likely to have an opportunity to get a publisher to pick you up because you've already got an established audience and a community to market to. However, there is one thing in between self-publishing and traditional publishing, and it's called hybrid publishing. And I didn't actually know about it until I did a Publishizer campaign for the Freedom Plan. So Publishizer is a crowdsourcing site for authors who want to put their book out there and get pre-orders in advance and fund it for themselves to then either choose self-publishing or going with a publisher. So I did this a couple of years ago on Publishizer, got a fully funded campaign, just like my Kickstarter one for my previous book, an inbuilt audience of people who were ready to grab the book when it came out on Amazon, and it just felt really good to have the Freedom Plan acknowledged as a book that people wanted to buy. But then I actually got approached by a hybrid publisher, and why they're in the middle is that you still provide the community, you still do a lot of the marketing, but you don't have to do the distribution, you don't have to figure out how to get it into bookstores, you don't have to do the design, the layout, or any of the copy editing. Don't get me wrong, I've been through like 20 edits of my manuscript alone, but they do all that work. And the beauty of that is that you then split the amount of money. So for example, when I was self-publishing, I took 70% of my own earnings and Amazon takes 30%. With this, I'm getting around 40% and they're getting 60%, but I'm not having to do every single piece of the puzzle. And so for me, it's actually been quite a delight. I'm working with Motivational Press. They've been brilliant. They've been really helpful, had a great editor, very good designer, and they really worked with me to give me quite a lot of freedom on how I want the book to look, the cover, the feel, the fonts, everything. But they've also put their expert advice in where I needed it. And so I now know when it comes out this month for pre-order that it's going to do really well because I've got my community behind me and I've been working on the marketing strategy for months now, but also they've got enough heads up to be able to put it into bookstores and sell it to distributors. So together we're working really well as a cohesive team. So that's another option for you to look at. You want either full freedom and in some ways full profits. You want that midway line where you're doing a lot of the work, but they're also doing the bit that you may struggle with because it can get quite complex. Or you go with the full traditional publisher, get an advance up front if you can get a contract, but have way less freedom and take far fewer of the profits. Mainly because with a publisher, they've paid you a hefty advance up front, and then you have to sell enough books to earn that advance back before you start earning royalties. And royalties can be anywhere from 5 to 8%, so it's not much on each book. I just thought I'd give you those options today because I think a lot of people think there's just sort of one way. And a lot of people are hanging out for this big 6-figure publishing contract, which is achievable when you're a really great author and you can go on to have multiple contracts. But I would far prefer to self-publish and have full freedom, or work in with a hybrid publisher to really get the book into the hands of the people who need it. So just wanted to give you your options so you can choose freedom. And if you are an amazing person, which I know you are, I would love for you to head to thefreedomplan.co to pre-order a copy of The Freedom Plan, which is out right around now. You can see it here. Just click here or click below. I would love for you to pre-order a copy because I have a goal to hit the bestseller lists and I need around 1,000 books pre-sold. So if you feel like buying 20 or 50 or maybe 1,000, that would really help me out.